My guest at this time is DJ Jordan. He is a longtime public relations expert, both in government and in the private sector. He's also a candidate for the Virginia House of Delegates this year in the Commonwealth's 31st District. So, why is he running? What does he think of the trio of scandals facing Virginia's top 3 elected leaders? And what is at stake in this year's legislative elections? And DJ, thanks so much for being with us.
Glad to be with you. Thanks for the opportunity.
Why are you running?
So I'm running basically to defend freedom and opportunity in Virginia. I believe that the principles that helped my father escape poverty in the Tidewater area of Virginia, and then he went on to build a small business for himself and provide a life for me, I feel like those principles are under attack in Virginia. I mean, we are having a conversation about socialism and whether or not that's good for our community and our state. And I want to run to make sure that we protect our freedom and our liberty here in the Commonwealth of Virginia.
This seat that you're running for was held for many, many years by a Republican, but that Republican lost 2 years ago to a Democrat named Elizabeth Guzman. What have you seen from her in the past year plus that tells you that she's not the right representative for that district?
Well, Elizabeth Guzman is very, very liberal. Her policies are very far to the left, and she takes a lot of her cues and direction from the national liberal progressive movement, whether it be introducing a bill to prohibit plastic straws in the state of Virginia, or whether it be, her belief in Medicare for all. The list goes on and on. Just about every liberal position that you can think of, she supports. And her policies are basically anti-business and anti-freedom. With the Chamber of Commerce, she has an F rating, the first time ever for a General Assembly member who represents Prince William County and Fauquier County, or Fauquier County, to have an F, or a D for that matter. And so very, very far left. And it's no coincidence she has received funding from national liberal groups like CASA in Action, our Latina Victory Fund. She's even received money from Nancy Pelosi. And so that's kind of where she's getting her direction from, and I think it's too far left for Virginia.
Give us a better idea of where you stand politically. Would you call yourself a full-spectrum conservative? Are you more moderate on some things, conservative on others? And what issues will compel you most if you're elected?
Well, I don't know what I'd call myself. I normally call myself an opportunity conservative. I believe in policies that allow people to have the freedom to do what they want with their life without government intrusion. But I also believe that government can play a small role in creating more opportunity for people. I used to serve on the State Board of Social Services. I was the chairman of the board. I was appointed by former Governor Bob McDonnell. And I saw a lot of policies that helped low-income people, but I saw way more policies that actually hurt poor people because it created government dependency. And so some of the things that are really passionate to me are issues like poverty, lifting people out of poverty with conservative free market principles. Small business and entrepreneurship is very personal to me. My father was a small business owner, and it wasn't just a concept. It actually put food on the table for me and my family. And then education is very, very important. Education is one of the ways out of poverty to improve your life and to have upward mobility. Those things are some things that are going to be very important to me. And then last but not least, I am pro-life. I believe in the dignity of all human life. And if we are, as a society, don't protect our most vulnerable life, whether that be in the womb or in other situations with vulnerable children and trafficked children, if we are a society that don't protect life at its most vulnerable stages, that means that we as a society are going to believe that some lives matter more than others. And I don't want to live in that type of culture, and most people don't.
You mentioned abortion as well as the other freedom initiatives that matter a lot to you, and that gets us right into the Democratic agenda that we saw this year at the state legislature. There was obviously a lot of controversy about the elimination of abortion restrictions. The bill ultimately failed, but that led to a major controversy about allowing abortion even with a mother going into labor. Governor Northam then, of course, got into trouble by suggesting that there could be a decision made about the baby's fate even after it's born. A lot of people saying that was essentially infanticide. Other issues related to gun control, right to work, minimum wage, and that sort of thing. what's at stake here with these very narrow majorities in the state House and the state Senate in this year's elections? What happens if the Democrats control everything, and what happens if Republicans keep the edge?
I'm really glad you mentioned that. We have a very, very slim Republican majority in the House of Delegates right now, 51 to 49. And even in the state Senate, we have a very slim Republican majority as well, 21 to 19. And so this November, all 140 state senators and House of Delegates seats are going to be on the ballot. And if the Democrats take over the state legislature in Virginia, you're going to have one-party rule. A Democratic governor, Democratic lieutenant governor, Democratic attorney general, and a Democratic state legislature. So all of the crazy left-leaning bills that you have seen that are introduced that have been stopped would become law next year, whether it be overturning our right-to-work laws, whether it be $15 minimum wage, whether it be all anti-business regulations that we have seen coming out, whether it be late-term abortion, and even infanticide, which Governor Northam talked about. All those things are on the table if the Democrats take over this November. So it's very important. Anyone listening to my voice here in Virginia, you need to be involved this year.
Let me get your reaction now to the scandals. It's been a busy beginning to the year in Virginia in all different ways. We had that onslaught of legislative ideas that we just talked about. And then, of course, I believe it was the very end of January and into early February when we had the yearbook scandal with the picture on Ralph Northam's medical yearbook page of one person in blackface, one person in a Klansman outfit. He claims he was neither of those people now, although many people still have called on him to resign, although that seems to be ebbing now that all the other statewide officials have issues as well. The lieutenant governor is now accused by two women of sexual assault, and the attorney general, after seeing what happened to Ralph Northam, and even calling for his resignation over the yearbook scandal, admitted to wearing blackface in the early 1980s as well. So what's your reaction to what they've done and what's happened since then?
Well, I would call our executive branch leadership right now a dumpster fire, but I think that might be an insult to dumpster fires. It's crazy. I've never seen anything like this in Virginia politics. I'll tell you what, it's very frustrating to see Governor Northam defend himself with the blackface yearbook controversy, especially considering how he treated Ed Gillespie, the Republican nominee for governor, back in 2017. During that election, Governor Northam and his campaign demonized Republicans and and Ed Gillespie, over and over, accusing them of being racist for things that definitely were not even close to racism. But the Democrats politicized the issue of race. And I believe that our country will never move forward on the issue of race unless we stop weaponizing race issues. And actually create a different culture where we respect and trust each other. And as an African American, I've been saying, as a black conservative, I've been saying this for a long time, that Democrats don't hold any moral authority on the issue of race. And I think the world, the nation is now seeing that in Virginia with Governor Northam and his scandal. However, I am disappointed that Northam's blackface controversy has gotten more attention than his support for late-term abortion and infanticide. Both of these issues, in my opinion, are connected. They are both an assault against human dignity, racism, and abortion. And so I hope that the Republicans do well this November so we can have a check on their assault against human dignity from the Democrats.
DJ, I know your campaign just started, but most people probably are a little bit surprised that a black man is a conservative. So when you go door to door, you meet people, what do you tell them to try and break through that stereotype that minorities would naturally gravitate towards the Democrat?
Well, it matters where I'm at. Locally in my community and my neighborhood, people know me and my wife, and they know the issues that we are passionate about. They know we are very passionate about strong families. They know we're passionate about our faith. And so when they hear that I'm a Republican, they're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But people who don't know me, there's always going to be, that initial reaction of people who are unsure whether or not I'm serious or not. But I'm very proud of being an African American, and I'm proud of my culture. And most African Americans, believe it or not, are moderate and conservative. but normally vote Democrat. And I'm trying to change that in Virginia and starting with the 31st district. But I think the Republican Party has a great story. We were created in the 1850s in part to free slavery and to end slavery. And our first Republican president was Abraham Lincoln. And so we need to go back to our roots. And we've always been for individual freedom. We just need to stress a little bit more our values and our principles for individual opportunity. We need to cheer on full individual potential for every single person, no matter their race, their socioeconomic status, or whatever. And I think our party can do better in reaching out into African-American communities, Latino communities, all different sorts of types of communities. We need to take our message. And in Virginia, it's an emergency, to be honest with you. We haven't won a statewide election since 2009. And one of the reasons is that we have not reached out like we should. And so that needs to change in Virginia, and I hope that it starts with races like mine.
Last 30 seconds, DJ. A lot of folks thought that the big Democratic gains in 2017 were essentially a backlash against Trump, who wasn't officially on the ballot, of course. Do you feel the same challenge this year, or is the dynamic a little bit different?
I think the dynamic is a lot different. First of all, we're not going to have a statewide election, and we're not going to have any federal elections. And so this election is all going to be about local issues. People want to know, will you fix our transportation crisis? People want to know, how are you going to improve our schools? People want to know if their property taxes are going to go up or if they're going to go down. Those are the issues that people are voting on. And I think Republicans are on the right side of all of those issues. DJ, we'll be following you. Where can folks find your campaign online? They can go to votedj.com. I have the easiest campaign website in the whole state of Virginia, votedj.com.
That is simple, votedj.com. DJ Jordan, longtime public relations expert both in government and in the private sector, and as he just said, a candidate for the Virginia House of Delegates this year in the 31st District. I'm Greg Corombos reporting for Radio America.